Hello friends, I hope everybody's doing good. I'm Marty and welcome to another video. And today we will be working on this yard machine, snowblower. It's, yard machines. It came with 8 horsepower Tecumseh on it. It's a 26 inch. And this was put out to the Carb last winter. And what happened was it had a seized engine on it, and I did do a video on what happened to it and why it happened. And since then I put a 5 horsepower Tecumseh engine on it. It's an old engine, and it was off the jalopy snowblower here that I bought about 5 years ago for resale. And it was nothing but problems from when I went to sell it to me using it. It was constantly breaking down. Finally, last winter we had a pretty big snowstorm, so I took it out so the shoveler could use it. And then finally the transmission blew out on it, and I said that's it for this. And then the other machine here came along, and I did a few things to this. I put the old Tecumseh off the jalopy on here, and they had other problems that I had to take care of here. For instance, the engine shaft was too short. I tried a couple of different pulley combinations, and what was happening was the auger belt was riding too far in. So what I did was I took a Gravely fan pulley, and I was able to bolt it onto the shaft here, and the auger ran fine and everything. But the thing was, I got this ready around springtime, so there was no snow to really try it on, and I really don't trust it until I try it. And I don't know whether I'm going to keep this one or see if it works okay and sell it. I'm not really sure yet. Okay, so the problem with this, let's get back to the problem with this. What it is the cold start. I choke it, I prime it, doesn't want to start. So if I take the spark plug out and I pour a little gasoline down in there, or brake clean or whatever, anything flammable, it'll start up. It seems to run pretty good once it starts up. Once it runs and I choke it, it wants to choke out like it should. The only thing I didn't test for was the primer bulb here. Now, a lot of times with these Tecumsehs, a lot of times I find that I hardly even have to prime them, and they start right up the most second pull on choke. So I'm thinking that either we have a problem with the fuel level in the bowl here, which may be due to it has a needle in seat, and the seat is rubber. If it has a swollen seat, then what will happen is the float won't reach the proper level, and then it'll start for gas, and that could be a problem. It seems to be running too good to have a problem like that. Or the primer bulb, like I just said, something with that, and I don't know. So what we're going to do right now is I'm just going to disconnect this angle lever here so we have room, and then I'm going to take this cover off here so we gain access to everything. And I think what I'm going to do is I have a new hose and primer, and without installing a primer, maybe just hook it up. But we're going to try to cold start it first and see what it does. And hopefully it'll make a liar out of me, and then it'll be okay, but I highly doubt it. So let me set the camera up and we'll try to give it a start. I don't want to prime it. I actually want to try to figure out what the problem is without having this thing start, because once it starts up, it starts up every time. It's the initial cold start's the problem here. So yeah, let me get set up, and I want to pour some gas in it, and let's see what happens from there. Okay, so I do have the used carburetor that was off the 8 horsepower Tecumseh that seized on this. And I also have a brand new carburetor that I never had to use because I was always able to fix the older carburetor. I want to try to avoid using any of those two carburetors. I want to try to fix this one. Unless it does have a problem with the seat. And I don't know how the bowl gasket's going to be. When I originally got this, the machine with this engine on it like 5 or 6 years ago, I did have to take the carburetor off and clean it and go through the normal procedure to get it running. It wouldn't start, it would start and stall or whatever it was doing. So let's put some gas in it. And I did run this out of gas last year, as I always do with everything that I'm not going to run for a while. So let me get the fuel turned on here. We'll put a little bit of gas in it and see what happens here. I'm gonna have to go buy some more gasoline, which I hate doing, but alright, so we're going to begin by, I'm going to choke it and give it like 10 primes and see what it does. I got it throttled up. Because if you throttle all the way down, it activates the kill switch. So I got the throttle up, I got it choked. Let me put the spark plug boot back on. What I did was I wanted to see which spark plug socket it took. Here. I'm giving it a lot of primes, so we'll see what happens now. And if it starts, it's an intermittent problem, which I don't like intermittent problems. Yeah, it doesn't want to start, which is good in a way. I think I remember pumping it like 30 times and it would start. I don't remember exactly what exactly happened with this thing. All I know is the cold start's a real problem here. It's absolutely not going to start. So that's a good sign for me to diagnose it. Alright, so I'll set up the camera. We'll take the we'll take it apart as far as getting to the hose for the primer. And I have a brand new primer. I'll just hook the hose to it and we'll see what happens then. This has an overhead valve engine. I don't know, maybe. I don't think so, but maybe the valve adjustment. So I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm just going to take this ring nut off here that holds the what do you call it, the chute adjustment here. I'll take that off so it's out of the way. I have to get this a little spray up too. If you're not familiar with doing anything, repairs on these things, the safest thing you could do here is take off the, I hate to bend this much, but take pictures of everything if you're not sure. So this has 2 different size bolts in it holding this cover on. And I think I may have been responsible. I just took the, this is the choke lever. Choke knob, I might have had to replace one of the bolts years ago or whatever here, but as it stands, it doesn't have the right. Oh, it's going to be tough to get off. Might have to use a ratchet. Yeah. That might even break off, I don't know. Sorry, I'm ill prepared here. I thought I'd be able to get it off with the driver. There's a bolt right on top of this cover going down. It's towards the gas tank here. And then there's one up front here. I gotta get out, and that's a 1/4 inch socket I'll be using. And I'm sure I'm going to be in your way a little bit, but let me see if I can just loosen it here with this. That hurt. Hopefully I pushed record and record in here. Yeah, I did. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the new primer bulb. Let me get this thing off here first. Okay, so from the primer bulb down to the carburetor, there's a hose here. Which this hose feels pretty bad here. I don't know if this thing's doing anything or not. The primer bulb's stuck in. The primer bulb broke, actually. Alright, let's do that and see where we got. Let me just pull this thing off here. I'm gonna probably end up just changing it anyway, whether it's the problem or not. We just changed the primer bulb and the hose. And I'll show you how we're going to do that the safest way. Alright, I'll be right back in a minute. Let me get set up with that and we'll see if sorry about this. Okay, so what I did was I had this bolt and I cut the head off it, and what I want to do is join the two holes together so we can fish it up. And I think I may run into another problem though along the way. I'm not really sure. I really never did this way before. Let's try it. This hose that I'm using is thicker than the original one for one problem I think I might have, but we don't know until we try it. This is the crankcase bent. This thing's so old it doesn't even go to anything. The hose just comes out. So I joined these two together here, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to pop this thing out, and I hope that the new one will fit in here with no problem. Might have to go get the hammer for this, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. The only thing we can do is try. We have to use a thinner screwdriver. I don't know. I want to try to do this without damaging anything. Well, that seemed to pop out pretty good. Yeah, and I think the new one will work. Okay, so now the trick is getting the hose to come out so we can install the new primer. I don't care if I got to prime it 20 times as long as it starts, because I may still just take this with me when we go out plowing. I don't know if this hose here is going to give us a problem here now. I don't know if it's going to fit through here because it's a thicker hose. I think I do have a thinner hose that the primer bulb came with. I think we might be able to get away with this. I'm hoping. Okay, now we're jammed up. No, we're not. We're good. My arm's in the way. Okay, this is where we joined them together, and this is the new hose here. So I'm going to stick the new primer bulb in there. I might have to cut some of this hose here because it seems to be way too long. Stick as much hose up there as you can. This way it doesn't fall back down the hole on you. Let me see if it works. I got the new primer bulb ready. And this is right. It's got the two tabs, and the two tabs go into these holes here. So we're good as far as that goes. Just pull that out. Stick the primer on here, all the way on. Make sure the two tabs line up here, and we'll just clip it in. Easier said than done. Alright, it's a tight fit. Oh. Okay, we got it. Make sure there's enough hose going up there. Maybe I'll just leave it this long. I don't think it interferes with anything. I don't know, maybe when I blew through here, I might have cleared a passage. I'm not sure. I really don't know here. But, okay, so we got our new primer bulb in here, and we'll just try it. I'm going to put that, no, I'm not going to put that cover back on, but I am going to put this arm back on, because the only thing holding the handle on is this here. So I'm just going to hook that up. Alright, I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I turned the gas back on now. We're going to try to start it up first by just choking it. See if it starts. I know the trick is going to be trying to start it again tomorrow morning on the cold start. I want to make sure the auger works too, because I had to do that thing with the pulleys. And also I had a problem where it wouldn't grab reverse, and it has an adjustment on there. And even though I adjusted it all the way, one way, to grab reverse, it didn't. So we did something on that. If you guys want to check out any videos on this, I think it was like 7 months ago and maybe before that we worked on this thing. So I guess I gave it long enough for the gas to flow down there. I did turn the gas back on. Gas did come out of the carburetor when we had it tilted. I stuck this handle back on too. This is the old hose and primer, old little throwaway. Make sure it's choked. Let me put that knob back on. Can't you turn that stupid thing? Okay, so I'm just going to choke it and try it. Not starting. Now we'll prime it. Like I said, I don't care if I got to prime it 20 times. I still think there's a float problem with it. I don't think I flooded it. I know one thing I did. I forgot to put the throttle up, so it was on the stop mode. That's one mistake I made. Okay, so this is not telling us anything whether I fixed it or not. We're going to have to try it again tomorrow morning on a cold start. We'll see what happens then. I'll remember to turn the throttle on this time. We'll choke it early in the morning tomorrow. It'll probably be in the 30s again like it was this morning. And we'll give it a go and see. Like I said, I don't care if I got to prime it 20 times. I said before, I might have blown something through that hose when I was just blowing through it. And then all of a sudden I saw gas coming out of the carburetor, like the overflow vent. We'll just hope for the best, and I'll see you all in the morning. Good morning, everybody. Okay, so yesterday, after the last segment, I waited about 2 hours. I let the machine cool off, and I had to prime it several times to get it started again. Okay, so here you have the bowl here. Okay, so you're either going to have a plastic float in there, or you'll have a copper float in there. If you have the plastic float, you're going to have to change the needle and seat. Because remember I was talking about the swollen seat allowing the float not to let enough fuel into the bowl here. Okay, so with the metal float, what it has is it has a tab on top which makes contact with the needle. And I've done it before, and sometimes you can take a thin screwdriver after you take the bowl down, and you can move that tab down. Okay, so it'll allow the bowl to come up higher to put more fuel into the bowl. Now, the reason why I'm not going to do that is I don't have a bowl gasket, so if I mess up the bowl gasket, then I'm kind of in trouble here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to live with just priming it like I've been doing. The primer works well with the new hose and the primer. The old one, the hose was collapsing, the primer was squashing in. It was just, I couldn't even prime it anymore, even though I had to prime it several times. Another thing I want to mention with installing the primer bulb hose, you saw me use that bolt. I cut the head off and I joined the two hoses together. What you could do is just make sure, if you can't do that, just make sure that the surfaces on the hoses are clean, and you could take some electrical tape, just a little bit, and put it around there. And what you want to do is help the hose up as you're pulling the hose out here. Just try to help it up there, so if you have it taped, it doesn't come apart on you. So what I'm going to do right now today is I want to close this video already, because I think it's going to be a long video here. I want to see how many primes it takes for the fuel to start coming out of the carburetor vent. Because once I prime it enough to where the fuel starts coming out of the overflow vent here, up here, I think it's behind here, then it's sure to start. Okay, so I choked it, I turned the fuel on, I actually turned the throttle up in the right position, and I want to try to count so I can get an idea of how many times I have to prime this thing. I'll still be able to tell, even though after I put the cover back on that we took off, I should be able to know how many times to prime it, get a general idea. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, like 9, I guess 10 primes will probably do it. It should start up now on choke. So I'm going to bring you back here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try it this winter here. And if I decide I'm going to sell this, I have the used carburetor off the 8 horsepower Tecumseh. And I do have a brand new carburetor. It's not a HIPAA though. If you really want to save yourself time, what you could do is, I try to look for the link for the HIPAA carburetor, and I did change one on an Aaron's. I think it was an 8 horsepower Tecumseh. And I always like to buy the one that has the adjustable fuel adjustment mixture screw. I like having that. I like to be able to adjust the carburetor. And that one worked out good when I did that. So let's see if this thing will start. We're going to close this video out. Especially at the Tecumseh engine, I always like to warm it up before I give it full throttle. Alright, so we know it starts. So it took about 9 primes, so I'll prime it 10 times and it'll most likely start up. 10 primes isn't bad. I was figuring it to be like 15 or 20 primes. I hope this video helps somebody out someday. The HIPAA carburetor, as I said, I don't remember if I told you, it's like $16. And I'll leave a link down in this video here. I'll leave a link to the HIPAA carburetor. It has the fuel mixture adjustment. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all on the next one, and stay safe.